All right, how's everyone doing? I am Rich CELENZA. Thanks for checking out the Rich CELENZA Show. So what I'm going to call this podcast is Everyone Eventually Fails Hard. Or at least I'm going to call it something like that. Because, I think for the most part, everyone understands they're going to eventually fail at something throughout their life. I don't care what type of family they were born into. I don't care how wealthy they are or how poor they are. I don't care what type of condition they're in. I think eventually, there are going to be a lot of fails in life. No one goes unscathed. But I do think there's going to be certain fails that are super, like kind of game changers. Kind of almost where you never look at life the same way, or at least your own life. You kind of get destroyed. It can happen if you're an entrepreneur, I think. It definitely happens a lot there. I think it happens in a lot of relationships. I don't know what stage in your life, but if divorce rate is 55% or whatever, it's probably a lot higher, but they don't even talk about it. But even not even getting married, just somebody, dumping you, getting dumped, getting cheated on, lied to, many other things, relationships within your family, maybe family members letting you down in one way or another. That could be financially, who knows what it is. But you're going to have those times where there's difference between, kind of the small fails or the small setbacks and the huge ones. You know what I mean? And it could even be your health failing you, is what I'm saying. You may go through something, or a family member. It could be your children. It could be your brother, your sister, your wife, your husband, your significant other. I don't know what brothers, anything. You also may go through something with somebody else who is failing. And again, like I said, somebody's health may be failing. Or you may know them in you see their business going under. You may see them going bankrupt. You may go bankrupt. Who knows? But it's something that I think, for the most part, a lot of people are going to go through. Almost everyone. I think everybody will eventually fail hard in one way or another, or be involved with something like that. And, or on the other end too, I think you may have, like I said a little bit earlier, you may have multiple, fails. And sometimes I believe, in my personal opinion, the fails actually make us a lot stronger. They kind of expose, in my opinion, who you truly are in life. That famous saying, I've said it before, when your back's against the wall, a lot of times, that's truly who you are. I believe that a lot of times, because when things are going good, they're good. You're just kind of going throughout life, or whatever the case may be. It's wonderful. It's fun. You may be a giver even, a sharer, whatever the case may be. But, when you hit hard times, and like how you handle the hard times is what I should say, is really going to, I think, build who you truly are. That's just my opinion on it. But what I want to address in this podcast is to let people know that you're not alone. I think a lot of times when we fail, and we fail hard, we feel like the only person in the world that's like failed at that point in time. Even though we know billions of others have failed, probably worse than us, maybe even been in worse health than us, maybe have lost more money than us. But for some reason, sometimes you just feel like either, you're the biggest failure in the world, you're the biggest loser, you can't seem to get your shit straight. Maybe you even start sometimes, and a lot of us do, you feel shy for yourself. Nobody's there for me. Nobody helped me. You blame somebody else in your past. Whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? You just feel so alone. And listen, that's kind of how it is. I mean, that's kind of a setup to say, hey, how am I going to figure out how to get out of this, I think, independently? I think, too, and I've been in situations where I've had help to kind of pull me out. It could be your parents, and it could be financially, it could be emotionally, it could be, other people as well, family members, friends, to help pull you out. But if you can just learn how to pull yourself out, I think a lot of times, out of a lot of things independently, I think you'd really learn a lot about yourself. I do think a lot of people will get scared. And I understand that too, because when you fail hard and you don't know where to turn, I mean, eventually you are going to need help to start moving forward. But again, maybe taking the time to figure out maybe why you keep failing, or why I'm failing hard. And again, when it comes to health, that's a different situation. But I'm just saying in life in general, when things come up, because a lot of times, I think too, when we fail hard, we do want to blame others. And a lot of times we need to look at ourselves. And we just don't want to do that. I don't know why. And, or other times when we fail, we beat ourselves up, right? We just independently just want to emotionally just destroy ourselves. It's hard. I'm telling you right now, but you can get through a lot more in life than you think. I talk about it in fitness as well. You're a lot stronger than you really are. People never really truly discover that because either they don't work out enough, and they don't have to work out a lot, but they never really push themselves. They never were consistent for long periods of time, and that's understandable. That could be in business too. A lot of people, they don't truly know how to kind of maybe go further, and sometimes people don't want to go further. But, when it comes to failing again, I talk about it a lot because I think everybody, especially like these gurus online and all these people, coaches, entrepreneur, and I'm somebody who always wants to help people, but I kind of bring up the fail aspect that, if you're somebody failing a lot at certain things, you're taking chances. I got to give you props on that. So this is a different type of fail. This isn't one where, in a relationship or something like that. But, if you're somebody out there who keeps trying and experimenting and fails, but picks themselves up, I think that's outstanding in my opinion. I have friends and family members, all these different people. And I think the one thing they come to me is they fail a lot and they'll talk to me about it. I don't care if it's fitness. I don't care if it's a business endeavor, or I don't care what it is. It could be even dating different people that it didn't work out and they're kind of embarrassed because they were dating them and they brought them around. Now it's over. Now there's another girl or another guy and now they're embarrassed because they look this way. I'm like, hey, that's life. But you got to pick yourself up and keep moving forward. And don't be afraid to move forward and don't get so embarrassed. I think also, and I'm going to wrap this up, is the embarrassment aspect of failing. Listen, a lot of times I know we want to hide, and we don't want to let people know that we failed, especially if we failed hard. And I think this really goes for financially or relationships a lot of times, And one thing you can't hide a lot of times is a relationship. Let's call it for what it is. If you were with somebody for a long period of time and it ended, that person's not around anymore. Especially if you're engaged, married, whatever the case may be, it's over. You can't, and a lot of people get embarrassed. I get it. A lot of times too, financially, you may have lose a lot. You may have invested in a lot. You may lose a lot. That's life, right? But, there's nothing wrong, I think, with people understanding that, sure, you don't want to fail, but you are going to fail. But how do you get past that is what I should say. So I don't want to get too long-winded on this. Just really pay attention to this because I think really I do think a lot of people keep failing and eventually they quit on themselves and then it's kind of over. And I think you've seen a lot of these people, especially when they hit a certain age, and I understand. And then they become very bitter or miserable. Things didn't work out for them. And I understand that. But if you look at a lot of people in their life, some of the best times in their life is actually as they're getting older. If you're middle-aged or whatever the case may be, it is not over for you. And I understand if you look back, you may have failed a ton of times. You may have even been, right now, you may be separated, divorced, single, by yourself, whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? It's not the end. The end is not the end until, it is the end when you're gone. That's the end. So, just something to think about. So I'm going to wrap it up there. If you get a chance, check out my website, richcelenza.com. I'm all over the place with social media and all that stuff. So take care, and I wish you nothing but the best. But listen, kick it in the ass.